Oh, hello everyone. Welcome back to another what is probably going to be a chaotic reading vlog. So, I actually had this idea a while ago because when I tell you these books that I'll be reading in today's video have been sitting on my TBR for so long. I have owned all of these physical copies with the exception of like one for like over a year, like for a very long time, and the time was now to binge read them and finally decide if they're worth it to keep on my shelves. What is the theme of today's reading vlog? Oh my god, they're gonna fall. It's YA books. Yes. So here in my hands I have six. Yeah, one, two, three, four, five, six. I have six very popular young adult titles. When I first started my reading journey, I thought I would be reading more like popular YA books because I read the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber, and that was like my favorite thing in the world. So I just bought a couple more first books in series to see if I could find anything that I've loved that much. You will have to stick around to see if I do, but I will say Caraval is very hard to beat. So yeah, I haven't read young adult in a while, and I thought, why not now? It's a new year. We're gonna try new things. We're gonna step out of my comfort zone and we're gonna binge all of these popular titles. Let me just show you the books that I'll be reading in this video. I'm not gonna go over any like plot descriptions or anything because it will be in the vlog portion of the video. I'll tell you a little bit more info about the books, but it will be spoiler free. So what are the books that I will be reading in today's vlog? That's so nice of you to ask. So first up, we have the legend, the icon, the legend, Shatter Me by, what is it? Oh, Tahari Mafi. And this book is so popular. Like, it's everywhere. If you are on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, you have seen the people go crazy over this book, and trust me, I was very excited to see what all of the hype is about. Then we have The Selection by Kiara Cass, I think is how you say it. This is actually the only physical copy that I recently purchased. I'm not going to spoil what I thought about this book and everything, but this one, let's just say I had a feeling that I was really going to enjoy. I love the concept of it, so we will be reading this one. And we have another TikTok darling, book world darling, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, who is a very popular fantasy author. The people are obsessed, so this one I've also owned for a very long time as well. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Yeah, Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Again, beyond popular. I see stuff about this all the time. I have a lot of friends who are obsessed with it. So again, we will see what's up with this book. A Curse So Dark and Lonely is popular, but again, it was one of those, like, because I liked Caraval, you should get this one. So I did pick this one up a while ago. It is a thick book, but I did do this one. And then finally, we have The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. This one, I just love the cover. It's so beautiful. And I'm not going to say that I do own the other two books that are out right now in this series, and I purchased them because they have beautiful covers as well, but that's exactly what I'm saying. All right, so that is the TBR for this reading vlog, and let me just get right on into my YA reading vlog. Oh, hello friends. It is the first check-in for my YA reading vlog, and guess what book we decided to start with first? Guess? Can you take a guess? I am 60% into The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. And let me tell you, this book is really surprising me so far. So this is one of those books where I kind of made up what I thought the book was about before going into it. Like, I thought that this book was going to be about a girl who goes undercover, because I've heard that part of the book. Like, I've heard that part of the plot where it's like our girl Jude like goes undercover and it's like a political drama. She's trying to take down I don't even know who she's trying to take down. But I thought she like goes undercover, right? And then that's how she ends up in the presence of Cardan, who is this cruel prince. I thought it was maybe even like an arranged marriage situation or like a forced proximity where she's like stuck at his castle or something. And that is 100% not the case. So I was wrong. So this is about our girl Jude and her sisters when they are very young. Their parents are literally killed by this guy from the land of fairy where they are then taken to. Again, there's a human world. That's what shocked me. I didn't realize that this book, there is like humans are a thing and that there is a human world. I thought this was just going to be like a whole just full magical land of like creatures and fae and whatever. But no, there is a human world. Jude and her sisters are human and they are brought to this world and then they grow up, and now Jude at this point is 17 years old, and the reason she interacts with not only Cardan but like all of these other fae and everything is it like school? I was trying to see if she's like at classes. I think so. Like, she's not like at a school, but I think she goes to school. It's definitely not giving enemies to lovers. I was aware going into it. Some people have a problem with this book where they feel like it was mismarketed, where they thought it was going to be an enemies to lovers situation, and it's really not. And again, I'm at like 60% into the book. Like, some very minuscule romance stuff has happened, but that's definitely not the focus of this book. So if that's what you're looking for, sorry, this is definitely more of like a political drama, and just there's a lot of action and like some not really like adventure because they haven't really gone anywhere yet, but it's interesting. Obviously, I have to like turn on my brain a little bit to get into like fantasy mode to absorb like the world building to make sure I really understand what's going on. I feel like I definitely am understanding what's going on in this book. I'm just nervous about like vocalizing it and that I'm gonna say something wrong and you're gonna be like, that's not correct. Like, okay, fine, leave me alone. I'm not like a fantasy person. Like, I don't like, this is hard for me. Like, this is out of my comfort zone. I don't like stuff with like all of this world building. I just read like fluffy romance. I actually would know at this point if I really wasn't liking it and wasn't feeling it, and I definitely am excited to see where the story goes. So I will update you guys once I finish The Cruel Prince. If you could see how I have you propped up right now, you'd be like, wow, she's a real innovator. I literally have you like stuck on the side of the little camera bag that I use to hold all my camera stuff. I have updates for you. I'm like a smidge late on these updates, but not really. So basically update one is the other day I finished The Cruel Prince. Now, right now, I feel like I was kind of torn between giving it a 3.5 and a 4-star, but at the end, like, it really got me. Like, so much happens. The book is technically broken up into like 2 parts where it's like book 1, book 2. The end of book 1 obviously has a lot of like drama and action, and I don't want to spoil it, but like a lot goes on and it was really, really interesting to me. And then I thought from there on, the second part of the book was really just interesting. Like, I was having a lot of fun listening to it. So I think I'm going to give it a 4-star because, I mean, one of the points of this video was like, these are all first books in series, and are they motivating me? Like, do I care enough to continue on in the series? And of course, this ends on like a cliffhanger, you know, it sets up book 2, and I will tell you, I am invested. I am ready for more Jude and Cardan and to see where this story goes, and just the whole like transfer, let's say transfer of power and like people coming into their new roles. And I had a lot of fun with it. Like, I definitely liked this more than I was expecting to. I don't know if I have like anything else to say about it except that it was just a pleasant surprise. Again, not so much romance, but it definitely sets up that there will be more from Cardan and Jude in the future. I really liked them both as characters. I liked watching their relationship develop in this book, and again, not even in a romantic way, but just like how they ended up, you know, having to work together and, you know, just all that. And the next update I have is, at the current moment, and this audiobook is due back to the library end of day tomorrow, I am 50% into A Curse So Dark and Lonely. This book and The Beautiful are the thickest books out of the bunch, and you guys, I feel like, I mean, I say it a lot, like me and long books, especially if I can't do it on audio, not really my favorite thing. But this one, I am really enjoying. This book is actually a Beauty and the Beast inspired story, which I knew going into it. All I knew was that it was a Beauty and the Beast inspired story, and the main girl, Harper, actually has cerebral palsy. So you do get that disability rep, which is very unique and fresh, and I love to see that in, you know, a YA story with a really badass heroine and all of that. And this book so far, especially right off the bat, I was intrigued and I was really, really enjoying it. Now, at the 50% mark, I'm still like, why is it so long? Like, what else is happening? But I am really, like, I am actually genuinely very interested, even a little more so than Cruel Prince. I think I'm always just gonna be a sucker for anything that's inspired by like a fairy tale, and this is obviously directly inspired by Beauty and the Beast, and we get the perspectives of Harper and Prince Ren. So Harper lives in modern day DC. She does not have a good home life. Her mother, I believe, is like dying from cancer. I think her dad is like, I don't know if he's in the picture. I think he's wrapped up with like really bad people, and like she's concerned for like her younger brother. So she doesn't really have the best home life. Just so like badass and like really powerful that one day she sees this girl like getting basically like kidnapped off the street, and she tries to put a stop to it, and that girl is actually getting kidnapped by our man Gray, who is like a right-hand man to the prince. And instead of that original girl, Harper ends up getting taken back to this magical land. I don't know the name of it. I don't know the name of it. And she is the one now who has to stay at this castle and in this world to try to break the curse that Prince Ren is under. And a lot of girls have come before Harper, but this is just the last time that this curse can be broken. And in Beauty and the Beast fashion, it is by, you know, Ren falling in love with Harper. I don't know why this book is so long. Apparently it does end on like a good cliffhanger, and this is a 3-book series, by the way. 50% in, like, I'm definitely still, you know, intrigued. We'll see where the rest goes. It's looking like this could be another 4-star book, unless the end like really also like entertains me, and like who knows, maybe this could be like a 4.5, because I definitely feel like I like it more than The Cruel Prince, but we will just have to see how it turns out in the end. And then the book that I'm going to be listening to also after this is The Beautiful, and then we'll be halfway done. Oh, it's me, editing Kelly, because I realized that I forgot to film final wrap-up clips for 2 books. So we're gonna do that very quickly right now. Curse So Dark and Lonely, I ended up giving 4 stars. Like I said in my previous vlog clips, it was just way too long. It had so much potential to be something that I loved. It was just like so long. Again, I would continue on with the series. I'm not in a major rush though. It's one of those situations where I would definitely continue book 2, like start it on audio, and if I wasn't into it, I would DNF and give up on the series. But again, I would still try it out down the road. This was a solid 4-star. Again, its biggest issue was the length, but the ending was pretty action-packed, and it was fun. Oh, hello. I don't know how many days later it's been since I last updated you, but I do have some updates for you. And I actually just realized right now, I never did vlog clips for this book. Like while I was reading it, I just have this update of me finishing the book, but honestly, I think it was for the best. So that book that I'm talking about is The Beautiful by Renee. I'm so sorry, I can't remember her last name right now. And the thing is with this book, I listened to it on audio, right? And first off, I think this is such a well done audiobook. Even though it's one narrator, she did such a fantastic job, especially because this book is in 3rd POV. You do get like different character perspectives, like from, you know, an outside narrator, whatever. And I think she did such a good job at differentiating the characters and like doing voices and like everything. Like it was a well done audiobook. My problem was I just could not get into this book like I wanted to, and I struggled to finish it. Like, it literally took me 2 to 3 days to finish it when it really should have been like a day and a half listen for me. It makes me sad because this book on paper is everything that I love. This book is a period piece. It's kind of like gothic. It has like serial killer vibes, like just like dark, spooky vibes, but I just really struggled with it. So The Beautiful is about our main girl, Celine. And Celine is actually a dressmaker. She's like 19, 20 years old, and she is fleeing Paris after an incident happens. And she actually ends up in New Orleans in a convent. And then in where she is in New Orleans, all of these murders are happening, and there's like a serial killer on the loose, and she meets this like group of like mysterious people, and it turns out, I don't think it's a spoiler, I'm quite positive, no, it's like 100% on the back of the book, there are vampires afoot. So this is a vampire book. It's not like magic heavy or anything. It's really just like trying to solve the mystery of like who this killer is and like the people that Celine meets along the way. There's this girl Odette, and then there's this guy Sebastian who is her love interest, and there's a lot going on. I just wish that, I don't know, I just wish that I connected to this book and really wanted to listen to it. Because even though I struggled with this book and, you know, I didn't finish it as quickly as I wanted to, I still was interested in what was going on for the most part, and I would continue the series. Like, I would try the second book. Like, I would start listening to the second book, and if that didn't do it for me, then I would 100% like get rid of all of the books that I own. Like, I wouldn't continue on with the series, but I still, like, you know, it ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Like, I'm curious to see where these characters go and what happens in the story. Because again, I think it's interesting and it has so much potential. I just don't know if the potential was reached, like for me personally, like it being something that I love in this first book. That's that on The Beautiful. I'm sorry I didn't give like in the moment vlog clips on it, but honestly, they literally just would have been me. They would have been me being like, oh, I don't think it's a bad book. It's just not doing so much for me right now, you know? So you know what? This book, we'll leave it as it is. I don't think it's a bad book. If it sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would totally recommend the audiobook. And again, like, I'm intrigued, and hopefully maybe the second book works out better for me when I get to it, like down the road. So not only did I finish The Beautiful today, I also started The Selection. Now the thing is, you might be like, Kelly, why do you have the box set? I don't know why I bought this box set. I am not opening this box set. I was feeling really sad today when I walked into Barnes & Noble. I just needed some retail therapy. I saw this right there. It was staring me in the face. There was one left, and I was like, these covers, like the pretty girls in the pretty gowns, it's so like 2000s. Like, it literally looks like they're wearing like Sherry Hill dresses, and like honestly, it's iconic. Like, I just love the covers of these books. They really speak to my aesthetic. And if there was one series, 100% going into this binge, if there was one series or book, should I say, that I thought was going to be the book for me, it was The Selection. I felt it in my bones that The Selection, because it's basically like a YA bachelor situation where it's like a whole bunch of girls compete to be a prince's husband, or like a king's, I think he's a prince. Is he a prince or a king? I don't know. Maybe he's going to be the king and they'll be the new king and queen. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat that shit up. And you know what? I am like 9 chapters into it, and I'm having a good time. Definitely a big 180 from The Beautiful. Like, I am interested in what's going on. I understand everything that's going on. I'm 100% paying attention to the audiobook. I am really like invested. I like it. I think it's well paced. I am just at the point in the book where America is at the palace. And yeah, I feel like I just jumped ahead and I didn't tell you what this book is about. But this series is like very, very popular. Definitely one of the most popular ones that I'm doing in this binge. So you may know a little bit about it if you do know about YA books. But like I said, it is basically like dystopian Bachelor, where our main girl, America, is in the place, it's called like Ilia. I always want to think like Iliad, but I think it's called Ilia. And in this society, people have different rankings based off numbers. So if you're like a number one, you're like elite. You're like the highest level that you can be. And like the lower your number is, like maybe it goes up to like, were they saying like 10 or 12? I don't know. But like based off your number, like that's how, like poor you are, or like that's just where your status is, that's where your status in society is. So the time has come. They did one in the past for the guy Maxim's dad, but there is Prince Maxim, and they're like, okay, he's of age, he's gonna find a wife. And the way they do it is it's literally like a televised thing where it's like The Bachelor, where all of these girls, if they're of age, I think it's like 16 and older, they can sign up and they apply, and then 36 of them get selected, and then they go to the castle and they compete in tasks, and Maxim is supposed to like find a wife. And this is a 3-book series, I believe. And yeah, I mean, I just right off the bat, I do really like the concept, again, because it's literally like dystopian Bachelor. Like, listen, I love The Bachelor, and I'm excited. Like, I'm curious to see what the competitions are. And yeah, our girl America, she is a singer. She just wants to provide for her family, but she also just wants to be like very independent in like her singing. She plays musical instruments, so that is like her thing. That is what she does for money on the side now. But joining the selection and everything, like even if she doesn't get picked, I guess they were saying like she still will leave with a good amount of money to provide for her family. So even though she doesn't really want to be there, she was chosen for the selection because she's apparently like this gorgeous redhead, which I mean, we have no choice but to stan. I don't know. I think it's really fun. I will say there is also, they set up like a love triangle element as well. There is the guy, what is it? I already forgot his name. Are you kidding me? Ashton? It's Prince Maxim. And then what is the guy's name who she's basically like in love with and was supposed to be engaged to? Austin? Ashlyn? It begins with an A. So there's this guy actually who is like a level 7. So like he's like really trying to care for his family. He's like a really hard worker, and they're like a friends to lover situation. And it actually kicks off where like, no, her and this guy whose name I can't remember are like in a relationship. They're sneaking around, like they're family friends. And he was like going to propose to America, but then she gets selected for the selection, and he's like, no, go. I understand why you need to be there because like the money and like blah, 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 blah. So like they like end things before she enters, into the competition, but I think he's gonna come back. So that was really interesting. So there's just a lot of drama, a lot of tea, and hopefully there will be a lot of scandal, and just it's nice and short, which I love. I think the pacing is good. I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. And so far, I think I'm actually having the most fun with this book than I've had with any of the other books. Can't believe I didn't film a wrap-up clip for the selection because I ended up giving it 5 stars. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I have the box set of all the other books, but you can also listen to the audiobooks on Scribd and like your library apps and stuff like that. And I am ready to continue like as soon as I can. I mean, I have other stuff that I have to listen to, but I just loved this. Loved it so much. I thought it was so fun, perfectly paced, great length. I'm totally invested in this world and these characters, and I'm just like ready to see what happens. Hopefully there's even more action in these next few books, and I am just ready. This was definitely like the star of the show. Absolutely obsessed, 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 obsessed. Listen, I don't know how long it's been, again, since my last update. This vlog is truly all over the place, but I did finish not 1, but 2 books. The last 2 books for this vlog are done, finito. And I didn't give you in the moment updates because honestly, they were pretty quick reads that I don't think they required any in the moment updates. So let's just get right into them. Let's talk about The Inheritance Games first by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So this one, like what sold me on it when I first bought it forever ago was that it's like Knives Out. Oh, my phone went off. Got me was that it's like basically Knives Out, where our main girl Avery gets invited to this estate for a will reading of this deceased old man, and it turns out he barely leaves any money to his family. He has a couple grandsons and everything, and he like barely leaves money to the family, and the rest he gives to this girl, and she's never met him before, and she's like, what, why? So again, very Knives Out, where the family is like, why do you get all the money? And then there's like hidden clues throughout the estate and like a mystery that they're solving. There's also a plot about a dead person. I don't know. I don't want to give too much away. This was really fun. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It's not my favorite, like, obviously, and I'm sad that I couldn't get as into it as I wanted to, but I do think it picked up in the end. I just wasn't as invested in this story and these characters as I would have liked. Once again, there is a little bit of a love triangle element, as all of these books tend to have. There are 2 older grandsons, Jameson and Grayson, and our girl Avery, you know, has very different relationships with both of them because they are very different ends of the spectrum, which again tends to happen in a lot of these YA books. You have one that's a little bit more outgoing, kind of like semi golden retriever type brother, and then you have the more like reserved, quiet, like grumpy brother, great, who is Grayson, and then Jackson is the more happy one. I'm like semi invested. I am happy. Well, this is technically, it's a 3-book series right now. The newest one actually just came out, the conclusion, but I do know a lot of people actually weren't like, I feel like the last book had mixed reviews, which is maybe why I'm a little hesitant to continue the series. I thought this was fun. I feel like if you are in the mood and like that kind of like mystery, you know, Knives Out, but obviously young adult version vibe, you know, really interests you, I would definitely check it out. I don't have much else to say about this book because, again, like I thought it was fine. It was entertaining enough. It just isn't anything that's super special or memorable for me, but it is fun. Like, I don't think it's a bad book. I didn't mind the writing style at all. It just didn't, I wasn't like as obsessed with it as I personally would have wanted. Solid 4-star book. Maybe I would continue down the road, but again, I'm just scared. Like, I don't want to be disappointed by the last book. But you know, one of these days. Now, for the last book, which I'm so excited actually to talk about because I'm a little obsessed. We have Shatter Me. So Shatter Me, I gave 4.5 stars. I just didn't like it as much as a selection, which is why it's not a perfect 5-star, but honestly, it's pretty close. I just feel like a 4.5-star rating is correct. Now this book, I was actually the most nervous about going in because I feel like for sure out of the whole list, this is the most hype, most beloved. I see this all over TikTok. The people are obsessed. And I will say, I mean, after listening to it, I really understand the hype. I thought this was so just fun, but it also was a lot darker than what I expected. Again, I don't know if I said this. This is a book that I was convinced I was either going to love it or hate it. I truly thought there was going to be no in between with this one. So basically all I knew about this book from when I read the blurb like forever ago was that it was about, obviously it's like a dystopian, you know, time period, like, you know, chaos in the world. But this girl has the ability, like her power is she can't touch people, and that's all I knew, and that is basically what this is about. I mean, there's more to the story, but our main girl, Juliet, this is all through her perspective. So our girl Juliet, it starts with her literally locked up in like a cell, and she's been here like in this area for literally over like 200 days. Like, I think she was saying like 260 days or something like that. She's been locked in here by herself. And then they give her a cellmate for a little bit. And this guy's name is Adam. And Adam is actually someone who she knows from her past. She's gone to school with him. I think at this point in the story, Juliet is like 17. I think she was saying that maybe she's 17. Um, but she does end up knowing Adam from her past. And so they connect. She hasn't had human interaction in any sort of way, talking to someone, obviously, like any sort of touch or anything in, literally almost 300 days. Also, with Juliet's ability, it's that she does damage to people and can hurt people and literally kill them when she does skin to skin contact. So like people with gloves can touch her, and like again, like skin to skin is where she really does a lot of damage. Like that's where like the scariness is, and that's when she gets very nervous. This book just had so much action in it. It was so fast paced. It was so entertaining. I was eating it the fuck up. I mean, listen, I'm definitely more of a Warner girl instead of a Adam. I cannot lie. Adam is like, again, the super nice and caring cinnamon roll type. He's actually a guard who is like working with Warner, like working under Warner, but again, he knows her. He knows Juliet from the past, so he does care for her. And like Aaron is like on the opposite end. Well, Warner, his name is Aaron. Warner is his full name, but they call him Warner, at least in this first book. And Warner is just like obsessed with Juliet. He just wants to keep her in captivity and like just utilize her power. And he's obsessed with how strong she is and everything. And he's also just obsessed with her and just, wants to keep her and like is convinced that they'll be a great match. And like, it's just like chaos. Like, I feel like I'm not describing this book well, but it is just really, really fun. Definitely got darker than what I was expecting, which I liked. Again, definitely very action packed. I think it was just really cool. Just Juliet, like, learning what she can do with her powers, but then also it was sad when she reflected on how, she's become an outcast, like in her past, and like, the darkness around her powers. And it was just so interesting. I will say, like, I really am definitely invested and cannot wait to continue this series in the future, like with the selection. Like, again, those are definitely the top 2 series where I'm like, I want to binge these books now. Only thing is, Shatter Me is like, the series is like so many books, and I don't really know why. Like, maybe because I don't really like series that follow the same people to go on for too long. Like, if this was a trilogy, I'd be like, not perfect, but like, why is it like 5 or 6 books? I don't know. And again, it all follows the same people. It's not like we get like a different couple or like people per book. Like, it's all the same story, but they are shorter books, which is good, and you can find all of the audiobooks on Scribd. So I think that is the end of the vlog portion of this video. So let's just get right on in to wrap up Kelly. There we go. It is very late at night. I need to take off this makeup and go to bed. Goodbye. Goodbye, babies. So that was it. We're done. Yay, how exciting. So that was my YA reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had a good time. Maybe you got some book recs. I feel very accomplished, like I truly do, because like I said, these have been sitting on my TBR for a very long time. Again, this was very successful because I literally would continue on in all of these series, some a little bit higher priority than others. But overall, I had a really, really great time. So my favorite, without a doubt, the only 5-star book in this video was The Selection. I loved this so much. It was The Bachelor vibes for me, but I just loved how like of a quick and easy listen it was. It was really easy to understand, and also I just paid attention to every single thing. I really was so absorbed in this story. I was so invested. I loved it. It made me not mind a love triangle, and I'm so excited to continue on with the series. Like, this is definitely the series that I am most excited to continue on with, and this was such an absolute win. I would have devoured this series when I was younger. Like, it probably would have been my entire personality. So maybe it's for the best that I discovered it as an adult, because I truly think younger me just would have been a menace to society because of how much I would have been obsessed with this. But I just adored this, adored it so, so much. I totally recommend if you just want a fun, light read. Then we have Shatter Me. Shatter Me, again, 4.5 stars. It's very close to being a 5 star, but just I didn't like it as much as the selection, so it's got to be a 4.5 star. But this was so action packed. It was so entertaining. Again, I'm very invested to see where the story goes. I like all of the characters. I think the concept is really cool. I love the dystopian vibes. This was so much fun, but also surprisingly quite dark, which again, I really enjoyed. And I just like totally see what the hype is about. I really, really enjoyed this. Now these next few books, I don't feel as strongly as I do about the other two that I listed, but again, I would continue on in all of these series and I am like somewhat invested now. So I really don't know if I would rank the Inheritance Games or the Cruel Prince, like which one I would put above each other for these being, 4-star books. I can't tell, so we're gonna put them at a tie. So the Inheritance Games I liked. I did think I was gonna like this a little bit more than I ended up, enjoying it. I just couldn't get into it as much as I wanted, but I did really enjoy the aesthetics, the concept, the characters. I'm curious to see where it goes. We love rich people drama. This just wasn't like my absolute favorite thing in the world. And then The Cruel Prince, I definitely thought picked up more in the end. I do like the characters in this book a lot as well. I think Jude is such an interesting character to follow. I mean, I liked it. I really don't consider myself to be the biggest like fae like fantasy person, but this was still, definitely very entertaining. Just wasn't my favorite thing in the world. Her So Dark and Lonely again is another 4 star. It just makes me sad because like this probably could have been a 4.5 or maybe even a 5 star if it was just shorter. It just went on for so much longer than it had to, but I loved the Beauty and the Beast concept of it all. I'm curious again to see what happens in the story that makes it a trilogy. And this was just really fun for like the most part. It just kind of lost me for a chunk there because it was so long. But definitely if you can pick this up on audio, I would. But I did still have a good time with it. Finally, like I'm just so disappointed that The Beautiful ended up being 3.5 stars and I couldn't get into this like how I wanted because it should have been. Like it's like one of my ideal books on paper. I love that it was a period piece. I love the vampire elements. It also had like a gothic tone to it as well. I love the New Orleans setting. It just wasn't as entertaining as I wanted it to, and I just couldn't get into it for the life of me except at the end there and when they had the romantic moments with each other. But again, I think with this series, I'm definitely going to listen to book 2 on audio sometime down the road. And if I'm listening to that book and I still can't get into it, I will just, DNF, get rid of all of the books that I own in this series and just unfortunately give up on it. But I'm not giving up hope yet, okay? I still thought this was, solid. Like, I don't think it's a bad book. I don't think there's anything wrong with the writing. I just couldn't connect to it like how I wanted. So, fortunately, it's at the bottom of the pack. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know other reading vlogs that you would like to see in the future. You guys know I love a theme. I love doing a themed binge, a themed marathon. So if you have any ideas for more in the future, please let me know. As always, my social medias are linked in my bio as well. My TikTok, Instagram, all of that, Goodreads. If you want to talk books, see what else I'm reading, you can follow me down there. And thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye!